In 2024-25, it doesn't get any crazier than Serie A.
The craziest day, but as we started the day, is how we'll end it in terms of the title race. Napoli remain 1 point ahead of Inter in terms of the standings.
Matchday 37, and there's still almost everything to play for in Italy's top flight. Which brings us to the big question. Just how crazy is Serie A? What the hell is happening in that league? And what's the one change that's made it the must-watch league this season? Matchday 37 was an epic. First position changed hands 4 times in 90 minutes. By the 80th minute versus Lazio, Inter had a 2-1 lead that would have seen them top Serie A if it stayed that way, before Lazio scored in the 90th minute. Napoli, on the other hand, would have all but secured the league after they got a penalty away at Parma in the 96th minute. VAR overturned that. Inter got a goal disallowed against Lazio in stoppage time, and in both games, both Simone Inzaghi and Antonio Conte, the coaches of Inter Milan and Napoli respectively, as well as the other two coaches, Marco Baroni of Lazio and Christian Chivu of Parma, got sent off. Take all that in and breathe, because all of this is still only the beginning. It's a title race that has kept fans of the teams involved on the edge of their seats. As of match day 12 in the season, the top 6 teams were separated by just 2 points. Given the period we're in now, this might seem like nothing noteworthy, but when you look at the teams involved and what's gone on since that period, it is. From 6, it became 3. Napoli, Inter Milan and Atalanta are the top of the standings, before a couple of bad results for Atalanta have them, at the time of recording this, unable to challenge for the league again. They're 5 points off first place Napoli as of recording this. But there's something about the teams in this ranking that gives an idea of just how insane this league is. As of recording this is what the table looks like now. Napoli is in pole position with 79 points, Inter Milan with 78 points. The two teams fighting for the league title separated by a single point. Quick one though, hit that subscribe button to Football Historia if you haven't yet for more videos like this. For context, the top 2 in the Premier League, Liverpool and Arsenal, are separated by 12 points. The top 2 in La Liga, Barcelona and Real Madrid, are separated by 4 points. The top 2 in the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen, separated by 13 points. Top 2 in Liga, PSG and Marseille, separated by 19 points. All as of recording this, which brings us to the first crazy part about Serie A this season. It's the most competitive league in the European top 5 leagues. The numbers we've just mentioned above tell the story. Serie A is the only league right now where the title is yet to be decided. In every other league, first and second place is already done. And even with this, Serie A still throws up another interesting plot twist. The final day of the season in Italy will be wild. Very wild. How? According to a rule change introduced ahead of the 2022-23 season. It states that if 2 teams are competing for the title and are level on points at the end of the season, all 38 games played, that is, well, instead of taking their goal difference, both teams are separated by their head-to-head record. Both games between the two this season finished 1-1 draws, and that's when an even deeper metric is applied. If Inter wins on the final match day and Napoli loses, which at this point could become a big possibility, for the first time since 1964, the Serie A title will be decided by a playoff, where the team with the better goal difference, which is Inter Milan as of recording this, gets the home advantage. It's a very crazy title race right now, one that's locked into the final day. But just focusing on these two doesn't tell the full story of how crazy Serie A is, because if we widen the scope down the rest of the table, it's been cinematic football as well. If we run it down up, starting from the bottom of the table up to the rest of the league, it's all still to play for. 15th place Verona, Parma in 16th, Lecce 17th, Empoli in 18th, Venezia in 19th are all involved in the battle to beat the drop. For more context, 15th place Verona is separated by 3 points from 18th place Empoli. Empoli, in turn, is level on points with Lecce in 17th, and both teams are separated by just 2 points from 19th place Venezia. Still all to play for there. Then, of course, the other exciting part of the league. For the teams in the top half of the table who aren't participating in the title race, the battle for European football has been shaping up very nicely. The teams involved tell a unique story. Atalanta in third has guaranteed themselves Champions League football, but the final spot is up for grabs between Juventus, Roma and Lazio, all separated by just 2 points. For Juventus, it's a bit of a drop-off. That 6-team 2-point gap we talked about earlier, Juve was one of the teams involved. For Lazio, they've been in and around the conversation, but the real story here is these guys. Roma, another crazy story with Serie A this season. Before Claudio Ranieri took charge of the club in November last year, Roma was going through hell. Things were really bad. 2 coaches were fired in the first 4 months of the season, Daniele De Rossi and then Ivan Juric. Just 12 points from 13 games, the worst start to a season since 1979. Threats of the Ultras going on a revolutionary protest that even led to the sacking of CEO Linus Soluku. They've gone through all of that, and right now sit just 2 points from a Champions League spot. Incredible turnaround. Roma has the best record of any team in Serie A in 2025. They've picked up more points than even Napoli, Inter Milan and Atalanta since the turn of the year, and they've kept the battle on for Champions League football this year. But in the other European competitions, it's equally as exciting. Bologna winning the Coppa Italia makes it a more straightforward path, but it takes nothing away from the action. They've secured one of the 2 automatic slots in Italian football for the Europa League and have changed the race in the process. As of recording this, Bologna is 8th in the standings, and if that goes on into the final day and they finished outside the top 6, then the 5th place team qualifies for the Europa League and 6th place qualifies directly for the UEFA Conference League. Relating this to the current Serie A table, it now means 4th place Juventus to 8th place Bologna are fighting for 3 spots in 3 different European competitions, even though Bologna is already guaranteed one. Crazy? Yes, but that's been Serie A this season. Another thing that's made the league very exciting this year has been the change in the notion that used to surround it.
If you watch 2 bottom teams in Serie A, it's entertaining? It's good football to watch?
No.
I never watched it. It might be kind of boring.
Think?
But what bottom tier table league is like? Are you watching?
I'm talking entertainment.
100%. Yeah.
This used to be the idea. Serie A is boring, which in reality is far from the truth. From the standings, the battle for the league title, the fight for European football, the resurrection of Roma if you like that word, Bologna ending a 51-year wait to win a major trophy, the battle to beat the drop, the fact that teams who, despite being safe from relegation but aren't challenging for any of the European spots, can still have a say in the title race or who qualifies for Europe. It's made Serie A very exciting. But it's not just this. It's also the fact that each team, particularly the guys in the top half of the league, is evenly balanced. By this, I mean each team has players who can decide or win a game, players who have come into their own this season. Take league leaders Napoli, for example. In the summer transfer window, the situation was a mess. The saga with Victor Osimhen, then beginning the season with a 3-0 defeat to Hellas Verona. It was a negative start for new head coach Antonio Conte, but seeing how the season had turned out, it was only a bad start. Signings like Romelu Lukaku and Scott McTominay have changed the season for Napoli. They're in pole position now, and if they do win the league, there's a big possibility that the MVP of the season award will go to one of these 2. It's worth pointing out that this is a Napoli team that, in 2 years, has lost arguably the 3 players who formed the core of that title-winning team in 2022-23. Kvicha Kvaratskhelia left to join PSG in January. Victor Osimhen has played on loan at Galatasaray and is expected to leave when he does return on a permanent transfer. Kim Min-jae joined Bayern Munich at the start of last season. Antonio Conte has come in and built a team with players that can compete. Then you come down to second place. Yes, Inter Milan may not have been as convincing as they were last season when they won the league, but the fact that they're still very much in the title race this season shows how competitive they've managed to remain despite the challenges of European football. In terms of the Inter squad, the biggest difference this year is that Inter has moved from what used to be a problem for the Nerazzurri. They've managed to keep their star players. The core of the team that won the league last season has remained. Players like captain Lautaro Martinez, Nicolo Barella, Alessandro Bastoni, and wing-backs Federico Di Marco and Denzel Dumfries. What Inter has done this season is to add to what they have. The addition of players like Davide Fratesi, Carlos Augusto, Nikola Zalewski has been to strengthen the team. Atalanta?
Retegui's over 20 goals just in Serie A alone.
Matteo Retegui this season has been a man on a mission. As of recording this, he's got 25 league goals now, 7 more than Moise Kean in second place. Players like Ademola Lookman, Charles de Ketelaere, Raul Bellanova, and Martin de Roon. Players who have been very influential for Atalanta this season. This stretches to almost every team in the league, which again tells another story about Serie A and how tough the league is. Given the running they had, Napoli was expected to have wrapped up the league title by this point. Napoli dropped points to a Genoa team that had nothing to play for a week back.
I'm sick to death of people disrespecting Serie A. I really am. Atalanta doing so well, but they've got a tough game tonight. We've had Inter as well, who Inter the last couple of seasons have been brilliant. And then AC Milan. I'm just saying the football family disrespects Serie A. And I played there, you know. It's not as easy as it looks. Tactically, you've got to be aware, Jamie.
Does it look easy there?
I'd say the pace is lower.
Disrespect? That's probably the word. For years, the notion of Serie A has been how tough the league is defensively, but from every point listed above, it changes it. This season alone, Serie A has produced some incredible high-scoring games this season. Atalanta beat Juventus 4-0 at the Allianz Stadium. Inter put 6 past Lazio at the Stadio Olimpico, and Inter and Juventus played out a 4-all draw. True, Italian football in general is known for its defending, but results like this show the equality of attacking displays that has been in Serie A this season. When you look at the league's only remaining representative in European football, Inter Milan. In Europe this season, it's almost as if no one paid any attention to Inter Milan until they started picking up big wins. Just 3 goals conceded in the Champions League group phase. But after beating Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals, the big talking points came in that epic semi-final against Barcelona. 7-6. No, it didn't go to penalties. This was the aggregate scoreline over 2 legs. Inter Milan showed that if they needed to play attacking football, they could. For a team that's talked about more for defending, putting 7 past Barcelona was a huge talking point. But in the context of Serie A, it was also an indicator to show that the Italian top flight and the teams competing in it can produce games like this. Inter put 6 past Lazio. This same Inter team also lost 3-0 to AC Milan in the semi-finals of the Coppa Italia, a shocking result considering the form of both teams. And to keep the focus on Milan, it's been a very disappointing season. They won't be playing European football next season, despite being just 2 points off 7th place Fiorentina. And that's because losing the Coppa Italia final to Bologna, as we touched on earlier, means Bologna has automatically qualified for Europe. The idea is clear. Ranking the top 5 leagues in Europe this season, in terms of excitement, it's been in Italy. 3 teams are still in direct competition for the league title up until the final 2 match days of the season. 3 European places still to play for. A Golden Boot winner that's not for Atalanta for the first time in over 25 years. Bologna breaking the duct to win a trophy for the first time in 51 years. AC Milan's huge slump, meaning they won't play European football next season. The relegation battle. Serie A has been the it league so far this season. And if you think the football is good now, you should have seen Serie A back in the 90s. It was epic stuff. Click the next video to see why 90s football will never be forgotten.